Let's dive into the discussions shaping the nation.
Look, Minister, just before I begin, I want to acknowledge the way you went about making the rearrangements for this morning. Thank you. Grace was 10 years old when she entered the foster care placement that is at the heart of the Commission report. It was due to be a temporary placement in 1989, and I don't think we can remind ourselves enough that she was a 10-year-old girl, she was a child, and she was without a voice. And the failure began before Grace even entered that house, and I would very much struggle to call it a home. She was placed there by the South Eastern Health Board. The house was never assessed, and it was never formally recognised as a foster home. Why? Grace was not visited by a social worker for the first 6 years, for those formative years of any child's life. Why? It wasn't just Grace. There was 47 other children placed in this house. However, Grace remained there for 20 years, despite it to be temporary. Why? She remained there despite allegations of abuse on at least 2 occasions that we know of. Why? She remained there despite the Brothers of Charity stopping children going into that house in 1991. Why? In 1996, there was a decision made by the Health Board on foot of concerns of possible abuse, but that decision was later overturned. Why? It was not until 2009 that Grace was removed from the home. Why? None of these whys are known. This is a very lengthy report, and it does not answer any of these questions. When the Commission was announced by then Taoiseach Enda Kenny, he said it will get the answers that the people need. That has not happened. What we do know is that Grace was failed over and over. What we do know is the very few people that spoke up for her were ignored over and over. And what we also know is throughout those 20 years, numerous people did not care about Grace. I want to commend the 2 whistleblowers that came forward, that cared enough to raise concerns about Grace and did so at huge cost to themselves. We've since heard from both of them. One said that the report was a waste of time. Grace's own legal team have said that their submissions, they were acting on behalf of Grace, they were her voice, are not included in any way in the report. And we've heard from the second whistleblower again this morning to say the same thing. His submissions to the Commission were not included in the final report. Minister, these failures are not in the past. They are not something that happened just in the 80s and 90s. Concerns have been raised repeatedly in relation to the care system that we have in Ireland today, and they have been raised repeatedly. Grace wasn't listened to. Those that cared for her weren't listened to. And we have to listen now. I have, and I will again say, the Children's Residential and Aftercare Voluntary Association have pointed to an increase in unregistered and uninspected for-profit providers in our care system. They have said the lives, safety and mental health of the most vulnerable children in the state are at severe risk. They have called repeatedly for an independent review of Ireland's care system, and I would ask that we do that. The Child Law Project last year told us the care system in Ireland is at breaking point. They've described judges in court as being in despair. We know they've also raised issues in terms of the fact that 250 children are left without a social worker. There are so many issues, and we need to review independently our care system. Lastly, I just want to acknowledge the many wonderful foster carers that we have in our country. We need more of them. The numbers of them are falling, and this is also a difficult read for them as well, and I want to acknowledge them. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.